We're going to dive into a live Cowboys mailbag. Before we do, if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe. If you want to be a part of the show here, where you guys ask questions, got to be subscribed. That way you can tune in to our live video. So if you want to join the #1 Cowboys YouTube channel out there, hit that big red button and subscribe today. From Joseph, who's a student, trade Jaylon Smith and our second this year for Denzel Ward and a day 3 pick, and take Parsons with our top 5 pick this year. The Browns say no, because the Browns do not want to take on Jaylon Smith's contract and a top 35-ish pick and give up their best cornerback. So, good idea. Try it in Madden. Not going to work in real life, though. From Stinky Cheese, if we give Mike McCarthy another year and it doesn't work out, do you see the Cowboys going after a big name like Sean Payton, Lincoln Riley, or Joe Brady? I mean, we'll see if Joe Brady is still the hot commodity come next year. Probably is, but maybe. I think from the Cowboys' perspective, if McCarthy fails, they went after the experienced, reliable veteran coach, right? Maybe you get aggressive and you say, okay, let's try to go after Lincoln Riley. I would be aggressive the next time I go try and hire a head coach if McCarthy does fail. I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. I know Jerry is uniquely aware of how old he is, and he knows he doesn't have a bunch of time to spend rebuilding. I think that's why they went after a veteran coach in Mike McCarthy, maybe failing with him to get them to change their mind. From Mike Perry, if Nolan is fired, who is the most likely defensive coordinator next year? So, not who I would want, but most likely. I think if you're placing bets in terms of the odds, I think your front runner in terms of the odds is probably somebody already on your staff, right? George Edwards. Remember, defensive assistant right now for the Cowboys, no position coach of title officially, but he's been a defensive coordinator before under Mike Zimmer with the Minnesota Vikings. He's been a DC too with Washington and Buffalo way back when. Was the Cowboys linebackers coach in the late 1990s, early 2000s. For the Cowboys and McCarthy, I think if they move on from Nolan, it came from above Mike. It came from Jerry/Steven and said, look, Nolan and the players, this combination, it is not working at all. We will let you get new players in, but we got to move on from the DC as well. And I think if they don't want to go through a whole giant search and try and find somebody off the staff, going with George Edwards, who, by the way, I mentioned as a DC candidate over Mike Nolan when they hired Nolan originally, I think it actually does make some sense. Now, and it might also get you back into the more 4-3-1 gapping style as opposed to the 2 gapping, multiple scheme stuff, all kinds of that issues there. But I know Edwards is not the sexiest hire out there. So I'm going to give you guys a chance here. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Who do you guys want as the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys? If you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. From Tate Clark, how do you feel about Micah Parsons? Want him or pass on him? Relative to the linebacker talent, I like Micah Parsons. He'll probably end up being linebacker 1 for me. I'm going to pass on him, though, for a couple reasons. A, it's an off-ball linebacker. That value is not great, and I'm tired of spending all the premium picks at that position. Did it with Leighton Vander Esch, did it with Jaylon Smith. Stop doing it. You can find guys later. On top of that, you say, oh, but he can rush the passer. Cool. You just described Jaylon Smith. I don't want another one of those. I think you're better served, A, of course, trading down. If he's still there, okay, we can have that discussion. But also, take a cornerback. Get a more impactful player. I think that's a better path for Dallas. From Hunter, do you want to deep Aldon Smith? Fun typos. Pretty sure you mean keep Aldon Smith. At the right cost, sure. In reality, Aldon Smith's play, and it's partially because teams don't throw on the Cowboys anymore, but the pass rush numbers have dipped after a very hot start. If he's at the right cost, sure. Am I going to give him the Robert Quinn contract? Absolutely not. So let me know what you guys think here. What do you want to do with Aldon Smith? Type P for pay or type in L for let leave. I'm down to bring him back. He just can't break the bank. From Fabian, Matt Patricia for defensive coordinator. Guys, the Lions defense has been just as bad as the Cowboys defense, in all honesty. I know Patricia, Patriots, whatever. I'd rather go try and hire Hoodie Jr. to come over and be the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Also probably not going to happen. That's Steve Belichick, his kid, by the way. Look, Patricia, I think he was just a product of the Belichick defensive system. Like, he was in charge of building that Lions defense. They got guys that he wanted, and their defense was bad. I don't want to bring him in. I don't think it's actually all that much of an upgrade. Now, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you see right here on screen. It's Cowboys125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. What that means is, it's simple math. Put down $100, boom, an extra 125 coming your way on top of that. But you got to use chatsports.com/bet, and you got to use promo code Cowboys125. From Malachi Trimble, how likely is it to get, I think you mean Patrick Surtain, the cornerback out of Alabama, Chaz Surratt, not Sage, but Chaz Surratt, the linebacker from UNC, and Andre Cisco, the safety from Syracuse? Well, first off, I drink for all Super Chats today, so thank you. I think if you trade down and you can still get the Bama corner, your odds go up. I think Cisco might be a top 75 player. I think you could get Chaz Surratt in round 2. Those might not be the best value on the board at the given time, but I think that is a plausible outcome, at least as we sit here in December. From Carson K, do you think our offensive line will even be that much better when it's healthy? It's going to be a very different live by now. P.S. This is Family K, just a new name. Okay, cool, Carson / Family K. Yeah, they'll be better because you get back Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Lael Collins. Like, yeah, they're going to be a better offensive line. Like, you're replacing below average at best players and getting in, when they're at their best and healthy, all pro caliber options. Like, yeah, the O-line will be better. From Cooldude 49, do you want to trade Gallup? Not really. I know that long term you might have an issue, and that you can be like, oh, I can just spend a top 75 pick on a receiver and I'll be fine. I'm only trading Gallup if I'm getting a really good defensive piece back. Because if I trade Gallup, I still got to draft somebody top 75 at receiver. So I don't really want to trade him for picks right now because I'm not getting better in 2021. And I love CeeDee Lamb. Cooper's been awesome this year, which I think we are under-respecting at times, or disrespecting times this year. So I get, like, if this were Madden and I knew I was guaranteed to draft somebody good at receiver, sure, maybe I trade Gallup. But I think what might make the most sense in the end, keep him for this year. Let's see what happens. The cap's probably going to rise. Maybe you keep him, maybe you pay him, maybe you let him walk in free agency. But that's a future Cowboys problem. I think you're better off for 2021 having your big three at receiver. Now, if you have to dump one, I don't think you're going to type in L for CeeDee Lamb. I am not going to type in C for Amari Cooper, although you can if you want, but I think he's been awesome this year. I feel great about him. Maybe it is Gallup. So if by chance you feel the need to do it, and you have to, which technically you don't, pick one to dump. C for Cooper, L for Lamb, or G for Gallup. From Joan Castillo, Robert Saleh as DC. He's going to be a head coach or stick with the 49ers. So, yes, I would love to get him as defensive coordinator. There's no way. He's not going to take a lateral move as a DC. He's going to go be a head coach somewhere. I'm sorry. Next up, could Jaylon Smith's last stand be he turns into a pass-rushing linebacker? I mean, maybe. Like, he is a decent pass rusher. At least he was. This year, he hasn't been as good at rushing the passer. The efficiency has dropped, so that's troubling. Factor in the run defense regression. I have major problems about Jaylon Smith. Like, you can use him more as a pass-rushing linebacker, but I don't know if that's really going to be a true path for Dallas long term. I'm not to try it, but at that point, maybe you're just better served moving on altogether. From Jerome Roybal, Do you think we do what we did in 2016, 2017, let Cheeto, Jordan Lewis, Xavier Woods walk, and rebuild to the draft? Yes. I think that is a very possible outcome. You spent 2 draft picks last year in the secondary, Trevon Diggs, of course, and then you moved Reggie Robinson over to safety. I think you do the exact same thing. I would not be upset if you walked out of the draft in the top 100 with a new corner, a new safety, and another corner as well. I am totally on board with that one. From a deal 7, Tom, why don't you ever mention Derek Stingley as an option at corner? He's the number 1 rated corner over Surtain. First off, bottoms up. Secondly, Derek Stingley's not draft eligible. So that's why, because I can't. He's not an option. You can't take him this year. So, yeah, he's really good corner. I love him. If he were draft eligible, he'd be number 1, but he's not. I can't do it. Sorry. From Tyson Lancaster, do you think we should try to win our division or go team tank the rest of the year? Team tank. You're not going to win your division. In order to do it, you have to win out. And, oh, by the way, Washington must lose out. Guess what's not going to happen? Probably both of those things. So you can try to win the division if you want. I'm sure the players and coaches are going to take that attitude, but it's just not going to happen. Sorry. All right, from Kevin Mendez, who is our 3rd running back? Rico Dowdle, the undrafted rookie out of South Carolina. They don't really use him, though. He's the 3rd back, but he's special teamers. Like, that's all it is. There's nothing too important about having the 3rd back right now when Zeke and Pollard have been pretty darn healthy. From the Arturo 090, the new punter is better than Chris Jones. You're damn right that he is. This is Hunter Nicewander. I have claimed victory. I was right, and the Cowboys messed up by not listening to me. These are their stats, right? Chris Jones, who I said it's been years now, cut him. He's bad. Well, he was bad again this year, and then his hernia acted up because apparently, it was the injury's fault, yet the Cowboys had a broken punter, and we're like, oh, why bring in anybody else? It'll be fine. Oh, what are you doing? And then you bring in a guy who I had never heard of. I don't think anyone who didn't watch Northwestern football closely had heard of, brought him off the street, and he's way better. It was a failure by the Cowboys organization to keep Chris Jones for as long as they did. All right, from Joey, who do you want as our head coach, but be realistic? I mean, I think you're stuck with McCarthy for next year, if stuck's the right word you guys want to use there. I mean, in terms of, like, if you were to fire McCarthy, I'd probably aim for the fences. I'd probably try and do some shady backdoor stuff and not let Mike McCarthy know what was happening, as risky as that is. I still think you might be able to get Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. I think of the NFL jobs, that's like the only one I think he would actually potentially take. Beyond that, you're looking at an Eric Bieniemy, a Brian Dable, offensive coordinator. So there's risk involved because we don't have very many data points to determine who makes a good coach because these guys aren't head coaches. So it's tricky, but I think that's where the Cowboys are more or less at.